Today I want to talk a little bit about the collapse of uncertainty, and it's happening all around us and always does. But let's just think about what that means for us individually and as a society. So most weeks at our candlelight service, we have the opportunity to go and light a candle for someone during the service. It's a contemplative service. And usually I'll go and I'll light a candle for someone I know is suffering, or someone I care about who's going through something, or a group of people. And this last time, I think it was the week before last, I decided that what I was going to do was light a candle and focus on those people who are facing increased uncertainty because of this war that we're in. And it doesn't really matter who starts wars, doesn't start wars. There's wars and there's wars. But there's always people who, because of the war, through no fault of their own, they're left with huge uncertainty. And so my thoughts in this case of lighting that candle was to recognize the uncertainty that they're going through and to send them as much love as I could and support. Because they're going to have some challenges along the way. And that's true of folks far from war. There's food insecurity, shelter insecurity. There's insecurity in homes. There's insecurity in many, many places. And for those people, there's a lot of uncertainty. So then we have to ask ourselves, or I ask ourselves, so given that, what can we do about it? What can we think about it? And Messy Elegance, I think, is a good framework for thinking about how to move from that mess towards something which is more, I'm using the word elegant, but really which is more healthy for us, more as online. So one thing we have, everybody has the ability to have, and that is a deep purpose in our lives. And recognizing what that purpose is and what's really important to us during those times, we often have the opportunity to call that up. If we haven't thought about it before, why am I here? What am I going to do? How can I be of most use in the world given this situation? We also have the ability to make decisions. We have agency. We have the ability to be totally present and joyful. It may not feel like joy, but to be in that present moment and have the ability to experience all that's around us and be grateful for those things which we can be grateful for. We can't be grateful for war. We can't be grateful for having our houses destroyed, but we can be grateful to be alive. We can be grateful for the unearned gifts that are all around us. And so that's a hard stretch for people who are in the middle of very dire circumstances. But it's available to all of us. And for those of us who are just, thinking about where am I going to go eat tonight, it's available to us too. We have the ability in the middle of all our challenges in life and things which we thought were secure but aren't secure, to live in that present moment. Some of you may remember the assassination of John Kennedy. You may be as old as me. I remember running home from school, bawling the day he was shot, and seeing my mom's face, and she was just, I'd never seen her that way before, just stricken, shocked, and the world changed. Some of you, more of you, will remember what happened, the change that happened between September 10th, 2001 and September 11th, 2001. And how the security of our country, which we thought was totally secure, and we didn't give it a thought, now all of a sudden is totally uncertain. And things are up in the air. And as a result of that, things like getting through an airport and all sorts of other things came about because that assumption about our security and how certain we were about that changed dramatically. And that, of course, can happen to us on individual levels. We thought we were pretty darn healthy, and then something happens to us. I thought I had this job for the rest of my life, and then all of a sudden I didn't. So those things happen to us, and we have opportunities, again, to, in the present moment, to have access to that natural nature's cycle of deformation, reformation, transformation, recognizing that even forests, when they're burned down, are transformed, they regrow, they're healthier. And so as we go through transformations, we have the opportunity to move towards more health or not. And so those are our choices, and they're part of who we are. And it's part of what I call, what we're calling messy elegance. Out of all of this, what are the 3 or 4 or 5 things we can do to move towards something which is more joyful, more something we can feel confident in, and move on from those directions. Because sometimes what collapses isn't failure. Out of that lost job, we get a better job. Out of that lost relationship, we find someone we were meant to fall in love with and marry. So the collapse of certainty is not the end. It is a new beginning. And so thinking of it that way, I think, might be helpful.